Welcome to Master the Game. I am Juice, and we are on day 6 of the Master the Game 30-day world building challenge. Today we are talking about natural resources. So let's get started. So in Thakos, I put a lot of thought into the natural resources when I've had games take place in specific areas. The place I started my world was the Orcs Arrow Peninsula. And when I did it, I didn't start by thinking, oh, here's all the natural resources. In fact, I put very little thought into that. In the Orcs Arrow Peninsula, we've got an eastern dwarven territory, which is a big, large walled-in city. Think the Great Wall of China that just blocks in this whole region on the east side of this continent. Leaves a small gap, and by a small gap, I mean, a large gap, many miles between that wall and a mountain that runs north and south before at the northern part breaking off and going west all the way to the coastline. That mountain range separates the eastern and western dwarven territories. It's just the eastern dwarven territory has built a great wall to block themselves in. Now, south of all this is where a lot of orcs reside. And there's actually 3 dragons that preside over different tribes of orcs that are kind of like this one. All 3 dragons are related. They're all siblings. And they are the rulers of these different orc tribes. Now, you have natural water down there, things like that that's necessary. You do have volcanoes. They do actually farm for some of their food. They do raise sheep and cow and things like that. Enough to at least have something to eat. You do have orcs that fish. You do have orcs that are pirates out of the Orcs Arrow Peninsula. You have that kind of stuff. In the Eastern Dwarven territory, you have many fields of crops. Again, once you get inside that wall, it is all grain. They farm like crazy. They also have underground farms where they farm mushrooms. Now, again, though, these dwarves are not underground dwarves. They are surface dwarves. However, they do have underground farming systems for mushrooms and things like that. Different kinds of plant roots that they use for medicinal purposes and food purposes. You also have, on the east side of the Eastern Dwarven territory, you have fishing villages that do a lot of fishing. And again, they have to contend with the orcs, which is unfortunate, but they still are able to do a lot of fishing there and things like that. When you get north of that, you have the elves, and the elves, of course, are vegetarians in this area. They got plenty of food from the forest. When you get to Elda, Elda is surrounded by farmlands. Tons of crops, tons of animals that they farm for food purposes and things like that. So again, you have plenty of resources to live off of, right? The fact that the Eastern Dwarven territories, they have underground farming, they also have underground mining. And that's how they've come up with things to make their weapons and stuff. They also sometimes send groups into the southern and northern Savage Mountains to do mining as well. Elda mines in the northern Savage Mountains. Elda also has fishing villages nearby where they have people that go out and do fishing for them on a larger scale, things like that. So the natural resources, I've got quite a bit there. When you get up to Pinerun has a large mine that was shut down for a while, but now it's opened again, thanks to some heroes about 100 years ago. You've got the mines in the mountains. Sandstrom has a mine on their side as well. You have this forest that they use for lumber. You have plenty of farms for the amount of people that live there. Same thing with all these grasslands. These grasslands are covered by farming towns. Food is a non-issue. Getting wood just by chopping down some of the trees in the Pinerun forest, not a problem. So resources to survive are aplenty here. You have a natural lake up here, that runs this river down in near Chiton. So you got all sorts of stuff like that. The point is, plenty of natural resources. Now, in my Blackrock game, there's plenty of resources, but the mines have been overrun by vermin, and due to political things over the history of the area, there's it's a very unstable region politically. All of the nobles and rulers have been pretty much taken out over the centuries, thanks to some shiftiness of a certain, of basically Burlington Castle. Burlington Castle's nobles have just always been kind of snake-like. You know, they've gone in and murdered rival noble families from other cities, and just by doing this, the idea was they could keep themselves strong as the main powers of trade. And this all led to Port Obsidia struggling, which really hurt the whole West Coast when it came to trade and imports because of all that. So again, that's based on the natural resources and the wars over some of those things there. The political intrigue of it, and the more like, I wouldn't even say wars, but it's more like espionage and assassinations that have led to them not being able to rise up over the centuries. And, you know, again, it's all over the natural resources, what it comes down to, you know. So with the Black Rock Cliffs and obsidian not being able to be extracted from these mountains, it's allowed, or it used to allow, Castle Burlington to have a stronger trade with other types of things that they have at their disposal. So again, using those natural resources to fight over, I think has led to some interesting developments in my own world. So would love to hear if something like this has happened in your world. Maybe in your world they've rallied around it, rather than, you know, in my world they're fighting in this one spot over that kind of stuff. Would love to hear about it in the comments below. This is your first time here, hit that subscribe button so you can see the rest of this 30-day challenge. And, you know, give us a like if you've enjoyed this so far. This was Master the Game. I am Juice. Game on.